The hardest part of building a SaaS isn't the actual building. It's getting people to actually use your product once it exists. I've talked before about how this is one of the biggest challenges you'll face, and that's change management. People naturally resist change, and here's the cruel twist. The more capable and complex your software is, the harder it is to get anyone to adopt it, because you're asking them to change even more. So what do? How do you make this easier? I want to reshape the way that you think about this problem, because once you see it the way that I'll show you, it gets a whole lot easier to solve. Let's start by clearly defining the biggest problem first. And that is that adoption, not building, is the hard part. People resist change by default, even when the new thing is objectively better. It's not logical, but it is human. Now stack complexity on top of that. The more powerful and feature-rich your software is, the bigger the change you're asking your customer to make, and the more they will naturally resist. So the very thing you're proud of, all that capability, is often what makes adoption harder. That's the trap we need to figure out how to escape. Here's a quick reframe that changes just about everything about how you might think about this topic. You don't have to build functionality that works perfectly right away. You just need to build functionality that makes your customer believe it's what they need. Let that sink in for a second because it's a key part of this strategy. If they believe, they'll try it. If they try it, you'll finally get some real feedback. Once you have that feedback, that context, then you can go make the functionality genuinely great. And you see what I did there? I shifted your focus from perfecting the feature up front to making it good enough to motivate a real trial, so you can learn how it actually performs and then improve it. Belief comes first. Perfection will come way later. Let's talk about the adoption loop, because that's the engine that makes just about everything work here. This part is all about creating belief. Build something good enough that they'll believe can solve their problem, and next will come a trial or a pilot. So that belief earns you a real trial. Then you get real feedback. Actual usage gives you real, honest feedback from your target market, and now you can really improve. Now, and only now, you make it much better using their context instead of your best guess. Then it repeats, and here's the beautiful part. Each time around the loop, it gets easier because your software is closer to what they actually need, which means they'll naturally trust it more. That's momentum, and momentum is what you're really after. Now, let me warn you about the trap that keeps most bootstrappers from making real progress, and that's the obsession with being perfect. If you focus obsessively on perfection, two bad things happen. First, you might never ship, and software that never ships helps nobody. Second, it's a myth anyway, because perfect isn't really possible. Chasing it is like wanting to find a real unicorn. What you actually need isn't a perfect product. It's enough people trying your software and handing you real feedback so you can make it better. Shipping something good enough today beats spending forever trying to perfect something, every single time. Here's another huge time sink that gets a lot of bootstrappers stuck in a loop. Constantly reworking your feature without real feedback can actually make it worse. Think about why. If you're changing how it works without context from someone in your actual target market, you're not improving it. You're just layering on your own assumptions. You might be polishing your ideas and not theirs. That's the difference between spinning your wheels and making real progress. Real usage from real customers is the only thing that tells you the truth about what to change. Without it, you're just guessing, and that's a dangerous place to build from. Here's where you, as a bootstrapper, should leverage AI to give you an unfair competitive advantage. AI builds fast, so take whatever little context you can gather up front, a few prospective customer interviews, a demo or two, some honest conversations, and use it to build the feature you think they want as fast as you possibly can. It doesn't need to be perfect, remember. It needs to be good enough for them to believe they might need it. Then you dangle that in front of them to motivate them to give it a shot. Speed is the whole objective here, because the faster you can put something real in their hands, the faster you can get the only thing that actually matters, real feedback. And once you can get them to try it, everything should roll forward from there. Now you've got real feedback to workshop the feature further and make it much better. From there, it all snowballs. Better software earns more trust earns more usage earns more feedback, and everything gets easier from there. I'm living this right now. I'm running demos for one of my platforms as we speak, and the feedback I'm getting is steering me in a much better direction than I ever would have found on my own, sitting in a room guessing. That's the power of getting to real usage fast. Here's a playbook to follow. 1. Forget perfect. Aim for good enough to earn a real trial. 2. Build it functional so they'll actually test it. 3. Use AI to build it fast from whatever little context you may have. 4. Get them using it and collect real feedback. 5. Workshop it with that feedback and make it way better. Keep in mind that change is hard for your customer, so forget perfect. Make it good enough to get real usage, then leverage it to make your product much better. That's what gets you unstuck and building real momentum. If you want my full framework for building, shipping, and growing a SaaS this way, my free 5-day email course lays it all out. And if you want me working through your specific adoption problems and challenges with you, I coach a small number of founders. You can find links to both in the description below and at bootstrappersparadise.com. Ship it, earn real feedback, make it better, and I'll see you in the next video.